share my screen here. One. Okay, so 261 through 5. Purusu-sukta confirmed. Okay, we'll recite the words. Brahmo vacha vacham vahanir mukham kshetram chandasam saptadhatava havya kavya amrita annanam jiva sarvarasasya cha. Lord Brahma said, the mouth of the Virat Purush, the universal form of the Lord, is the generating center of the voice. Of course, voice comes from the mouth. And the controlling deity is fire. Okay, controlling deity is fire. His skin and other 6 layers are the generating centers of the Vedic hymns. And his tongue is the productive center of different foodstuffs. And delicacies for offering to the demigods, for the forefathers and the general mass of people. Okay. The opulences of the universal form of the Lord are described herein. It is said his mouth is the generating center of all kinds of voices, and its controlling deity is the fire demigod. And his skin and other 6 layers of bodily construction are the representative generating centers of the 7 kinds of Vedic hymns. Like Gayatri. Gayatri is the beginning of all Vedic mantras, and it is explained in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Satyam Param Dhimahi. That's kind of referring to the Gayatri. Since the generating centers are the different parts of the universal form of the Lord, and since the form of the Lord is transcendental to the material creation, since the generating centers are different parts of the universal form of the Lord, and since the form of Lord is transcendental to material creation, it is to be understood that the voice, the tongue, the skin, etc., suggest that the Lord in his transcendental form is not without them. So, the material voice and the energy for taking in foodstuffs are generated originally from the Lord. Such actions are but perverted reflections of the original reservoirs. The transcendental situation is not without spiritual variegatedness. In the spiritual world, all the perverted forms of material variegatedness are fully represented in their original spiritual identity. The only difference is that material activities are contaminated by the 3 modes of material nature, whereas the potencies in the spiritual world are all pure because they are engaged in the unalloyed transcendental loving service of the Lord. In the spiritual world, the Lord is the sublime enjoyer of everything, and the living entities there are all engaged in his transcendental loving service without any contamination of the modes of material nature. The activities in the spiritual world are without any of the inebriities of the material world. But there is no question of impersonal voidness on the spiritual platform. As suggested by the impersonalists, devotional service is defined in the Narada Pancharatra as follows. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktiruchyate. Originally, since all the senses are produced of the Lord's reservoir of senses, the sensual activities of the material world are to be purified by the process of devotional service, and thus the perfection of life can be attained simply by purifying the present position of our material activities. And the purifying process begins from the state of being liberated from the conception of different designations. Every living entity is engaged in some sort of service, either for the self, or for the family, or for the society, country, etc. But unfortunately, all such services are rendered due to material attachment. The attachments of the material affinity may be simply changed to the service of the Lord, and thus the treatment for becoming freed from material attachment begins automatically. The process of liberation is therefore easier through devotional service than by any other method. For in Bhagavad Gita 12.5 it is said that one is subjected to various kinds of tribulations if one is impersonally attached. Klesho adhikatarastesham avyakta asakta chetasam. Okay, so that's the end of the purport. Then we have till 5. Okay, the others are not having much purports. So one thing, this Virat Purush is very difficult to understand, right? I mean, it's an imaginary form of the Lord, and there are different organs defined. Like here, it is saying the mouth of the Lord is Virat Purush, is generating center of controlling deity is fire, and from the skin, the Gayatri mantra is generated, and then different things are described previously also in the universal form. So sometimes it's very difficult, but here Prabhupada says that there is variegatedness in the spiritual world, and there is variety in the spiritual world, and not it is not all homogeneous and all same without variety. It is not like that, because this material world, as it is described here, it is the perverted reflection. So in the reflection, if there is variety, then in the original spiritual world also there must be variety. But here it is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is describing the banyan tree, which has its roots upwards and which has its branches downwards. So this is the material world. Like a tree on the bank of a river is reflected upside down in the river. So in the same way, in the shadow there is a mango which is there on the mango tree, but there is a mango, but there is no it's a reflection. It's not a real mango. So similarly, in this material world, it is all like a reflection, and we feel that there is. This is described also by Prahlad Maharaj, right? That there is a perception of happiness, and but actually there is no happiness. It's like a mirage in the desert. So when we try to pluck the mango from the reflection, you don't get any mango, but you only get your hands wet. But it appears like it is there. So the original mango is in the spiritual world, and in this material world, everything is just an abhas. It's a shadow of what is going on in the spiritual world. So all the relationships in their pure form, as Prabhupada says, they are in their pure form because they are uncontaminated by the modes of nature. There is no inebrities. Prabhupada says there is no inebrities. It is in its pure form. Because everybody is engaged in pure devotional service of the Lord. So So we can enjoy the real thing when we come to the spiritual spiritual realm. That is when we can enjoy. So it is also described that our actual spiritual senses of the spirit soul has spiritual senses, but they are covered over by this gross and subtle material senses. So we don't really experience the happiness of the spiritual senses. So the process of spiritual life is to uncover this covering that we have put on ourselves of the gross and the subtle body. And that happens by uh, devotional service. By devotional service, beginning with chanting and hearing. Then that covering is removed, and then we can actually enjoy with our spiritual senses. So, right now, we are trying to enjoy with our gross and material senses, gross and subtle senses. That is, we are trying to enjoy. But that enjoyment is not real enjoyment. The real enjoyment is done in the spiritual, with the spiritual senses. So, how we can uncover the spiritual senses? Just like we give the example, if you have your tongue is covered by, let's say, some polythene or some plastic, and you put a gulab jamun, you cannot really experience the taste. So, similarly, we are covered over, our real form is covered over by this gross and subtle senses, and that's why we cannot experience. So, how do we uncover the senses? That is given by this verse. Sarva upadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti uchyate. When one engages in devotional service, there are two effects. What is the two effects as described by Lord Chaitanya? There are two side effects. When the spirit soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are two side effects. One is freed from all material designations. So we become free from the gross and subtle identification, and we come to the spiritual platform. Basically, we realize I'm not this body, I'm not even this mind. I'm spiritual, I'm spirit soul. And then, actually, with the spiritual senses engaged in the service of the Lord, then the senses are purified simply by being employed in the service of, and with spiritual senses, one enjoys. So, so three things, like, right, we have to become free from these designations, the false designations, to get out of this bodily conception of life, and to become free from desire for gross and subtle sense gratification. Because then we can. So how does that happen? That happens by engaging our senses in the service of the master of the senses, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. So we come to the spiritual platform, and then we enjoy. They enjoy. Yogis, it is described. Ramante yogino anante satyanande chitatmani iti ramapadenashu param brahma bhidiyate. Then they enjoy unlimited bliss. But to come to that platform of enjoying unlimited bliss, one has to uncover and one has to engage in devotional service, which in the beginning may be very difficult to do, the chanting and sitting down and hearing. That's why it is called tapasya in the beginning. Although it is very joyful, Krishna says it is very joyful, susukham kartumavyam, because we are conditioned in another way, so we are not able to, find happiness. Like everything about Krishna is sweet. Uh, right, in the nectar of instruction, it is said that everything, Tannama, what is that verse? Which says that everything about Krishna is sweet. His name, his form, how does it start? Nectar of
Yat
instruction.
Krishna Nama
Syat
Charitadi
Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya. Pitopta.
Tapya Avidya Pitoptapta Rasnasya Narochikanu Kintivadad Anudinam Khalu Seva Jushta Swadvikramat Bhavati Tadgadamulahantri.
So everything about Krishna is sweet, but because I am diseased, and we have experience when we are sick, and if something, we have no appetite, first of all, So when we are sick, when we have no appetite for chanting holy name, we have no appetite for hearing about Krishna, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Durdaivam idrisham ihajani nanuraga. Yeah, I have no anurag, I have no attachment for, because we are sick. That's why. But then Rupa Goswami says, but if you very respectfully every day chant the holy name and engage in devotional service like that, then slowly and gradually taste will awaken in the heart. Slowly and gradually the taste will awaken, because everything about Krishna is sweet. Adharam Maduram, Vadanam Maduram, everything. This is the emperor of sweetness. So, but we are not able to taste because we have a disease. So, just as jaundice is cured by sugarcane juice, which is sweet, but because the person is suffering from jaundice, cannot taste it sweet. But if you take the sugarcane in Ayurveda, is the cure for jaundice. So, if you, as you become healthier, then that same medicine which did not appear sweet now begins to appear sweet. So, same holy name which does not appear sweet, it appears to be sweet as we become cured of the disease. The holy name only cures us of the disease, and when we get cured of the disease, the holy name appears to be very sweet. Holy name and everything related to the Lord's service appears to be very sweet. So, so that is how actually, by engaging our senses, then we can actually experience the sweetness. And when you experience the sweetness of Krishna Bhakti, then you will feel so happy, which is the goal of life, right? To feel happy. So everybody is looking for happiness. But when we experience this taste of bhakti, then we will feel so much satisfaction and happiness that we will not trade it for anything else of this world. Everything else will pale in comparison. As Prabhupada quotes Yamunacharya many times, Yadavadhi mama Krishna Padaravinde, Yadavadhi mama Cheta Krishna Padaravinde, Nava Nava Rasa Dhamni. So every Nava Nava Rasa, I am experiencing Udyatum Rantumasit, right? So every time I'm engaged in, I'm experiencing Anandam Udivardhanam, we say. So, so devotional service will appear so pleasant and joyful, and that will satisfy all the desires of the soul. So that is the state we are supposed to achieve. And Rishabdev also says you have to engage in tapasya for attaining the divine position of devotional service. Tapo divyam, and a state of bliss which never ends. Tapo divyam putra kayena sattvam shuddhe yasmad brahma sokyam. So it starts with baby steps, right? Suddenly we cannot do. Lord Brahma says the highest devotion is attained in slow degrees by the method of constant endeavor for self realization with the help of theistic conduct, scriptural study, and perseverance in practice. In the Brahma Samhita, he says that. So we have to constantly endeavor under proper guidance, and um, avoiding the trying to avoid the offenses. We have to make our effort. We have to constant endeavor means we have to make effort. Nothing is going to happen automatically. So we have to make our effort to connect with Krishna. So, and then, of course, seeing our effort, Krishna's mercy comes. Seeing the effort of Mother Yashoda, Krishna became merciful and got bound. So, so we can make some effort, and that effort is very simple. In this Kali Yuga, we have to chant Hare Krishna, we have to honor Krishna Prasadam, and by doing these two things and hear Krishna Katha, none of these things involve any great austerity. Like on the impersonal path, there are so many don'ts, and You are not allowed to engage your senses in with the sense objects. But here we can honor Krishna Prasadam, we can hear Krishna's pastimes, we can, with our eyes, we can see the beautiful form of the Lord, and with our tongue, we can sing. So we can sing the Mahamantra. You know, everybody likes to sing, everybody likes to eat nice food. So our senses are engaged, singing, dancing, and feasting. That's what Prabhupada said, that he was asked, what do you do for recreation? He said, we do only recreation. We chant, dance, and feast. So, so actually it's a very enjoyable process, the process of devotional service. It's not like, as Prabhupada says, here he quotes the Bhagavad Gita verse, the impersonal path is very much filled with trouble. Klesha athikataras tesham, avyakta asakta chetasam. Those whose consciousness, chetna, is attached to the unmanifest, for them the trouble is, klesha is adhik. Adhik means greater. Klesho adhikataras tesham avyakta asakta chetasam. Avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadbir avapyate. So, for those who are embodied, because our senses need engagement, and impersonal path is the path of denial, and so it's very difficult. And in bhakti, even from the very beginning, we get Krishna's help. So, whereas impersonal path is kind of, you're on your own, you're trying to control your senses without engagement of the senses, you're denying the senses. It's like coming from negative to zero because our senses are engaged in all mischievous activities. So, impersonal path is, okay, stop all engagement of the senses in all these things and make it zero. But bhakti is the positive aspect of engaging the service. So instead of doing Maun Vrat, the devotee who likes to talk, they can talk about Krishna. So Maun Vrat is for those who are going to speak nonsense. So for them, okay, don't speak anything. But we devotees don't do Maun Vrat. They chant Hare Krishna. They like to talk about Krishna. In fact, Lord Krishna, Chaitanya said, Yare dekho tare kaho Krishna updesh. Whoever you meet, you tell them about Krishna. So we meet so many people. Unless we are locked up in a room, then we chant Hare Krishna. So this is the way to engage our senses in Krishna's service of Krishna's senses. And then that will give us joy. Normally we think that if I engage my senses for my own sense gratification, I will get joy. And if I engage my senses in satisfying Krishna's senses, that's not pleasure. I have to, that's how our conditioning is. But spiritual life is like opposite, right? It's completely opposed to what our normal understanding is. So, normal understanding, conditioned understanding is everything for myself. But the Shastra is saying, oh no, it's not for yourself, it's everything for Krishna. So Vrajvasis are like that. Everything for Krishna, nothing for me. Those who are surrendered to Krishna, they are on that platform. Everything I will do for the pleasure of Krishna. And in giving pleasure to Krishna, the jiva enjoys much more. That Krishna starts wondering, oh, what is it that the jiva is experiencing? What is this bhakti that he's experiencing? What is the happiness he's getting in serving me? So then he becomes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to experience that taste. So the way Krishna has made it, that the devotee enjoys more than normally the person who is serving is working hard, and then the person who is being served, he is enjoying. But in spiritual life, Krishna has made it like that Krishna is taking service and the devotee is serving, but the devotee enjoys more than Krishna. So Krishna is wondering, okay, what is it that, of course, we talk about Radharani, what Radharani is experiencing. So then he decides to come. Radha Bhavaduti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. He comes with Radha Bhav. with the to put your to put himself. Krishna puts himself in Radharani's shoes, and then he wants to see, okay, what is what is she experiencing? These are the internal reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. Krishna is thinking, what is there in me? What is the sweetness in me that Radharani experiences? We have that verse from the Adi Leela. Shri Radha Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanaiva. What is the glory of Radharani's love? How deeply she loves me. Shri Krishna, Shri Radha Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanaiva. Swadyo Yena Adbhuta Madhurima Kidrisho Vamadiya. Oh, what is the sweetness, Madhurim, in me that she is experiencing? What are the qualities in me? And when she experiences my love, then what is the happiness? Svadyo Yena Adbhuta Kidrisho Vamadiya. Right? How does it go? Shri Radha Krishna
Saukhyam
Pranaya Sokyam Chasya Madanubhavata Kidrisham Veti Lobat Tad Bhavadya Samadjani Sachi Garba Sindhu Harindu. So then, what is the happiness that Radharani is experiencing? I want to experience that. So the Manjaris who serve Radharani, they also experience the same happiness. They experience the same emotions as Radharani. So, so devotional service is like that. It is opposed to material consciousness, right? That's why Krishna says it is all opposite to material consciousness. Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam. What is night for the Yanisha Sarva Bhuva? Tasyam Jagriti Samyami. So all the spiritual principles are opposed to material principles. Material enjoyment means I am the Lord, I am the master, I have to be served. And spirituality means Krishna is the master. And then in that you experience the most happiness. So it is not that those who surrender to Krishna, they are deprived of happiness. And Krishna is enjoying and they are suffering. No. Those who are serving Krishna, they are enjoying very much. So that is, of course, we have to experience. We can talk about it, but actually we have to experience. And to experience, we have to serve Krishna without any motivation. And then one can experience. At least starts with baby steps, right? So when we chant, let's chant one round in that consciousness, where I will just chant for Krishna's pleasure, giving all attention to and respect to Krishna, like that. I'm chanting, as Rupa Goswami says, with adar, with respect, because Krishna has come in the form of the holy name. If Krishna were to come actually to your house, would you ignore him? No, you would very much be attentive. And you will be with him throughout. Right? You will not leave him. Whatever, you'll be very careful to his needs, what he wants. Anybody who comes to your house, great personality, then you are very attentive to their needs. So Krishna has come. So we have to think like that yes, Krishna has come as the holy name, and the sound is Krishna, and how much I should be respectfully paying attention. So that's why it's an offense to chant inattentively, is an offense, because Krishna has come and you're not giving him attention. So Krishna has come and you're not giving attention. It's like when Brihaspati entered the arena or the kingdom of the palace of King Indra. Indra did not give any attention because he was so absorbed in his own. Then Brihaspati left. So that was offensive, right, for Indra to not give attention to Brihaspati. So it's the same, like it's considered an offense to not give attention to Krishna. And Indra lost all his opulence and everything. Of course, it's not like on our own we can do, but we can pray and we can try to chant attentively. And that is also Namabhas, right? They say to bring the attention back to the holy name when it goes away. That effort itself is very nice. That is abhyas. Krishna says, from wherever the mind wanders, Um, what is that verse? He says, from wherever the mind wanders, bring it back under the control of the
यतो
self.
यतो निश्चलति यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चञ्चल अस्ति ततस्तत् नियमेतात् आत्ममेव वशं नयति.
Atmaneva Vasham Naye. So from wherever the yato yato nischalati. So mind will go like that, but you make an effort to bring it back. Bring it back. So like that. And when we chant also, we are supposed to forget all our identities, the false designations. We also try, and the chanting will also help. Sometimes it is said that, by devotional service, all good qualities will come about. That is there. But we also try to inculcate those good qualities. So that is why the offenses are given and like that. So if we chant in this consciousness that at least for that much time when I'm chanting, I forget my all other identities of who I am. I'm spirit soul. For so many lifetimes I've been in this material world. Krishna, please extend your help, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, yeah, in that consciousness, or baby crying for mother, as Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Bhuto, Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja, Sita Duli Sadrisham Vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, but somehow or other I have fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this. Even in Bilva Mangal Thakur's, that's something is there, right? संसारकूपे पतितोऽत्यगाढे मोहान्धरूपे विषयाभितप्ते करावलम्बं मम देहि विष्णु गोविन्दं दामोदर माधवेति. I've fallen into this. Same as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. So we are in this difficult situation. Krishna, please pick me up from this. Or please give me taste. Please attach me to your service, right? Like that. That's the prayer. Prabhupada says, please engage me in your service. This is a prayer. So that is what will give. Service of Krishna will give us happiness. And because we are part and parcel of Krishna. Mamevamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashashtani indriyani prakritisa. When the part serves the whole, the part automatically becomes nourished. So part is in a healthy. Yatha taror mula nishichanena lipyanti tatskanda bhujopashaka pranapaha pranopaharacha yathendriyanam tatheva sarva ramachyutaicya. By worshipping Krishna or by feeding, it's like feeding the stomach or watering the root of the tree. Then we are the leaf. Because Krishna is the root. We are the leaf. So on the tree we are part and parcel, we say. We are part of the tree, right? And we have our own individual identity also. So we are one and separate. Just like leaf is connected to the tree, but leaf has its own individual characteristics. So when we water the root, then everything will be nourished. All the twigs, the branches and everything. So that is how we can actually. It's a very novel concept, right? Because nobody is teaching us like that in this material world. But the Shastras are saying like this. That material world, you are trying to be happy by your own enjoyment. But you are getting suffering. Yehi sansparshja bhoga dukkha yona evate adyantamantatu kantya nate shuramate buddha. Every time we try to enjoy, Prahlad Maharaj says, the project of fulfilling one's material desires, as soon as you start that endeavor to become happy in this material world, then you have to struggle. You have to struggle and you have to also face miseries. So as soon as we start this project, and that continues our material existence. Krishna bhuli jiva se anadir bahirmukha ateva maya tare diya sansara dukha. Krishna bhulya jiva bhogavancha kore ateva maya tare. No. Krishna bhulya jiva bhogavancha pashate maya tare japotiya tare. So that is our situation. So changing the consciousness, Prabhupada named this society as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So we have a consciousness that by enjoying our senses in this way, then we are going to become happy. And that consciousness is material consciousness. And to change that consciousness to Krishna consciousness means changing that thing, that by satisfying my own senses I'll be happy, but by satisfying Krishna's senses, then I will become happy. So that is the actual transformation, right? That we are looking for through all this is to change our consciousness, and that change can happen uh, by experience, right? When we do little bit and we feel nice. Okay, yes, I tried. I served Krishna without any material desire, without any motive, and it gave me some happiness. So that's some experience you get, and then you want to do more. So that is why devotees are chanting for so many years. They are serving, and they're getting happiness by serving Krishna. And the more the purer the devotee, the more experience of happiness, transcendental happiness it is. So, okay, so Krishna, one symptom of pure devotional service is uh, Sandrananda Visheshatma, right? It says, what is the, it puts you in a state of condensed bliss. Yeah, it will, pure devotional service will put you in a state of so much happiness, that the devotee thinks, yam labdva chaparam labam manyate nadikam tataha. And then he says, he is not shaken. Guru napi vichalyate. Yasmin stito na dukkhena guru vichalyate. So yeah, he says, okay, this is so much happiness of Krishna consciousness, so much happiness that there is no greater gain. Having attained this, Krishna describes in the sixth chapter, I think, that having attained this state, he feels there is no greater gain. Yam labdva chaparam labam manyate na adhika. There is no other higher thing. So of course, it is one is to talk about it, another is to experience. To experience, we have to practice. So, and then practice makes perfect. And when we practice and then we get taste, then we'll be attached to the service of Krishna. So this is the whole idea. Ultimately, as Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Instruction, the essence of all advice is to always chant, remember, hear about Krishna's pastimes. Yeah, Tannama Rupa Charitadi, Sukirtananu.
अनुरागितं कालं अखिलम्
उपदेशसारम्.
Iti Updesha Saram. The essence of all advice is to utilize once all the time. Kalam Akhile. Akhila means all, full. All one's time in chanting, hearing, remembering Krishna, serving Krishna. And in this way, one should live in Vraj, Tishtan Vraje, Tadanuragi, Jananugami, and following in the footsteps of those who are on this Vraj, who have Vraj Bhakti, and following such a. And Prabhupada has Vraj Bhakti, right? Prabhupada is the Acharya. He said he is coming from the spiritual world. He said, I didn't want to go, but Krishna told me, you go and write books, and no, this will do good for you, like that. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati also gave him the instruction, write. And so Prabhupada, that's why he wrote the books. So he is a resident of Vrindavan, Prabhupada. There is a poem, right? Prabhupada wrote, when will that day come when again I will be in the pasturing grounds with Krishna, in fun, frolicking in the pasturing grounds of Vrindavan, like that. And when will that? Only when Srimati Radharani will be merciful to me. When will that day my good fortune will come about? Like that he says. So Prabhupada is a Vrajavasi, come from the spiritual world. So by following that and following this, then we will go to that spiritual realm where every word is a song and every step is a dance. And Anandam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam at every step. And that you can experience. You don't have to go to the spiritual world. You can experience that same bliss here, right? As Rupa Goswami says, he becomes liberated even in this world. What is that verse? Iha yasya haridasya
कर्मणा मनसा गीता निखिलाश्वप्यवस्तसु जीवन मुक्ता सौच्यते.
Jivan Mukta sa uchyate. So one who engages in the service of Krishna with his ihayasi, haridas, karmana, manasa, gira, with his activities, with his mind, with his words, body, mind, and words, and everything like that, then he is Jivan Mukta here in this material world because he's experiencing this. You don't have to wait to change your position. You can experience the same spiritual bliss even in this life if we become a sincere devotee of Krishna and like that. So, and give up all our other, material desires, which are actually only going to give us trouble. So, and material desires gives us what? A material body. And material body, as soon as you get, means so much trouble. Prahlad Maharaj says, where is the happiness? Kutra shisha shruti shukha mrigatrishni rupa kvedam kalevaram ashesha rujam.
निर्विद्यते न तु जानो यद्यपि विद्वान् कामाननं मधुलवेशमिन्दुराप्ते.
So he says, where is the happiness in this material existence? Right? So this body is a source of various diseases. It is like a mirage. Shruti Shukha, Mrigatrishni Rupa. It is nice to hear about all these things. But it's like a mriga. Mriga means the deer. Mrigatrishni Rupa. Yeah, Trishna is thirst. So the thirsty deer is running after the mirage. So it's like that. So, but we can experience happiness. So Prabhupada said, he was asked, what is the goal of life? He said, goal of life is to become happy. It is to enjoy. But Prabhupada says, you don't know how to enjoy. So I have come to tell you how to enjoy. Enjoyment is not denied, but how to enjoy. How we will get real enjoyment, not this abhas of enjoyment, which comes and goes and then it goes up and down like a roller coaster. So absence of misery is considered enjoyment like that. So not this kind of enjoyment, but the real enjoyment Prabhupada came to give. And so we can experience, and it is a repeatable process, right? If Prabhupada experienced enjoyment in devotional service because it's a science, everybody else can also experience. Rupa Goswami says, I am experiencing so much happiness in this chanting Krishna's name. These two words, Krishna, is so much nectar. No jane janita. Right? I don't know what nectar is there in the Krishneti Varnadvai, right? This word Krishna. I don't know what Amrita is there in this. So if he is experiencing that, we can also experience. If we follow the path given by Rupa Goswami, Rupa Nugas. So if we follow the path, because it's like somebody does an experiment in science. And if you follow the same thing, what they have done, under their guidance, then you can also experience that same result. So it is not exclusive to anybody. It is available to everybody. to experience that. So, because it is a science, um, and this whole thing starts with hearing about Krishna in the Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Ridantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti surit satam Nashta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kama Lobha Dayasche Chetayete Rana Viddam Stitam Sattve Prasidati Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate Vidyate Hridaya Granthis Chidyate Sarva Sanshaya Shiyante Chasya Karmani Drishta Evatmanishvare. So in contact with the devotional service, Evam Prasanna Manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam. There also Vijnanam is used. It is a science. Vijnan. Mukta Sangasya Jayate. He becomes very joyful. Okay, so even in the midst of the greatest difficulty, yasmin sthito na dukkhena guru napi vichalyate. Even in the midst of the difficulty, one can be joyful. Like yesterday we were hearing that class, right? Everybody is suffering, but the devotee is joyful. How? Because yes, he's singing the glories of the son of Yashoda. Aho aho bhir nakaler viduyate sudha sudhara madhuram pade pade dine dine chandana chandra shitalam yasho 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 yashodatanayasya giyate. So even in the midst of the greatest difficulty, the devotee can be very happy from inside. Yes. So that is what we want to be. Irrespective of the material condition, we want to experience happiness. We want to be always happy, no matter what happens in our life. So how we can come to that platform? It is by Krishna consciousness, by connecting our. Prahlad Maharaj also says, I'm not disturbed by this material existence because I'm Naivo Dvijay Paradurataya Vaitaranyas. Tvad Virya Gayan Mahamrita Magna Chitta. My consciousness is absorbed in chanting and hearing about you. So I'm not disturbed by this. But of course he says we are here. So chetato vimukha chetasa indriyartha maya sukhaya para mudvahato vimuda. But I am lamenting for all these other people who are not experiencing this happiness and they are suffering. They have taken the big load on their head. Bhar, maya sukhaya. To become happy in this material world, in material way, you have to take a big load on your shoulder. And so many things have to be right to experience some little happiness. Right? So we know that how much endeavor we have to do to become happy. We have to work very, very hard to get some so-called happiness, right? And that is also in the mind. We think, yeah, now I'm in a so much hard work and struggle to get some happiness in this. Maya Sukhaya. That's Maya Sukh. Maya Sukhaya Bharam Udvadhato Vimudan. He tells we are all in this material Vimudas. Vishesha Rupena Muda. Specific, yeah, very unique Mudas. Vimuda. Because we have this consciousness that I become happy in another way. So it's like we also say we take fish out of water and then you give all kinds of happiness to it, but it will not be happy because it's not in its normal situation. So we are like in material consciousness, we are like a fish out of water. So no matter whatever you do, you try to enjoy, you go on vacation here, you go there, you build a big house, you get this, you get that. Until you are Krishna conscious, you will not get any happiness. And whatever perception of happiness is there, it's all illusory because it comes and goes, and it's like this whole material world is like a dream, and the dream is like we are dreaming, and we are made up our according to the modes of nature, we are dreaming and we are thinking this is the source of my happiness. A man in mode of ignorance thinks sleeping for 12 hours is happiness. It's very nice. It's weekend. Let me sleep till 12 o'clock. And then Saturday night I will enjoy. So for him that is the happiness. Going out late at night and then sleeping and then waking up late, and so that's mode of ignorance. So everybody has their conception of happiness. What is happiness? Mode of goodness, there is different kind of happiness. But so we are all dreaming about all these different kinds of. We are affected by the modes of nature, and according to that, like those who are given uh, steak, right? They are feeling very happy because they are thinking, "Oh, this is very nice food I'm getting. Chicken, very nice, wonderful." And other people are thinking, "Oh, this is bad. I feel like vomiting." So, but then that means everybody has certain conception of happiness, how they will become happy. So Krishna is saying that give up all these mentally concocted desires for happiness. Right? What is that? Sarvar Parthan Manogatan.
Prajahati.
Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarva Partha Manogatan. Who is a self realized person? What are his symptoms? One who has given up all this mental concoction of, okay, I'll be happy in this way, I'll be happy in that way, I'll be happy in that way. So we have all our mental concoctions of how we'll be happy. So one who has given up all this and then who finds pleasure in the self, right? What is Sarva Partha Manogatan?
Atmanevatmanatushtaha sthita pragyatadujjhate.
One who finds satisfaction in the self means connecting the self with Krishna. That's only we can find happiness like that. So just like Krishna is Atmaram, the devotee also becomes Atmaram because he feels satisfied, self sufficient, self happiness from within. So he doesn't need anything from outside to make him happy because he's feeling so much happy. So we do so many things to get from outside to make us happy. Right? We need this, we need that. I want that. I want this degree, then I'll be happy. I want this car, then I'll be happy. I want this iPhone. So these are all the desires, the mentally concocted desires. And we have why we feel happy because we have a feeling of possessiveness. Oh, this is mine now. Janasya mohayam aham mameti. But for some time, yeah, it may be yours, but then it may be taken away at any time. So then we will feel, oh, very sad because whatever we liked has been taken away. That's what Prahlad Maharaj says in his father when he was asked, "What is the thing you learned in? You've been to school. What did you learn?" And he says, "How does that verse start? Suravarya dehinam
Tatsadu.
tatsadu manye suravarya dehinam sada samudvigna dhiyam asatkrahat." Everybody is in sada samudvigna. Udvigna means in anxiety. Sada samudvigna dhyam asad grahat, because nothing is going to stay. But while you have it, you feel very happy. And then when it is taken away, because it will be taken away by time, or before when you die, it will be taken away, or before that, it will be taken away by if your karma changes, your money can be taken away, so many things. Then there is always a constant anxiety. And sada samudvigna dhyam asad grahat. Hitvatma patam grihamanda kupam vanam gato yadhrim ashray. Give up this kind of material consciousness. He's telling his father. And Hiranyakashipu was not happy, right? He had everything. All the three worlds he had conquered. But because he could not control his child, he was very unhappy. So one thing in material life that doesn't work out, he has a lot of unhappiness. So he says, give up all these things and go to Vrindavan. Prabhupada, Vanam Gato Yadharim, and take shelter of Hari. So we can also think we have tried in so many lifetimes, as Srila Prabhupada told Bhakti Charu Maharaj. You have tried many lifetimes to become happy, but I still see that you are not satisfied. Now try something different in this life. Or we can say, we don't remember our past lives. We don't know what we tried, what we did. But at least in this life we tried, right? For 30, 40 years, whatever. And still it's not like giving sense. So try something different. Don't try to do the one definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and to expect a different result. You've tried this, like it's not giving you satisfaction. So try something different now. Think out of the box and do something different in this life. And if we are 40, 50 years, half or more than half of our life is already gone. So at least for the remaining years of life, try something different. Don't, of course, try to be happy in a different way by serving Krishna. So that's basically what it is. So otherwise, if you do the same thing, you'll get the same result. Puna punascharvita charvanana. Again, you'll get another body, and again the same thing. Uh, Again, doing the same thing over and over again. Again, going through death. Again, going through old age. Again, going through disease. So, at least there is some promise, right? It's a gamble because we don't know whether we'll become free from birth, death, old age, disease, whether there is spiritual world. But Shastra is saying, Prabhupada is saying, the Acharyas are saying. So we put faith. Okay, anyway, everything is temporary. So what is the problem? Anyway, I'm going to lose this. Why not invest in some eternal thing? Why I have to invest always in temporary things? Anyway, it's going to be lost. But here there is a promise of eternal benefit. So why not I invest in eternal? That's Pascal's wager, right? Pascal's wager is that if you don't think that there is God or not God, better believe that there is God, because then you have nothing to lose. And if God is there, then you have everything to gain. Of course, God is there, but I'm just saying that when mind goes crazy, sometimes it can go crazy. When you see all the thing, then you can convince yourself. So spiritual life is about convincing your mind, like to do the right thing. So we have to convince. That's why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, if I want my eternal benefit, then I should listen to the voice, the wisdom of the realized souls, and ignore all the countless voices of popular wisdom, what other people are saying. There are so many theories, so many gurus, so bogus gurus, all these things, so many philosophies, and they have propagated all this difference. So we will take the real philosophy and at least, yeah, put faith in Bhagavad Gita. Like that. So that is how we can. Okay, so it's already 8:44. We'll go to the next verse, text 2. सर्वशूनां च वायुश्च तन्नासे परमायने अश्विनोर ओषाधीनां च घ्राणो मोदा प्रमोदयो. His two nostrils are the generating centers of our breathing and of all other airs. So sometimes it is said that first Krishna sees, then we see. First Krishna breathes, then we breathe. So his two nostrils are the generating centers of our breathing and all others air. His spelling powers generate the Ashwini Kumaras. Okay, what happened to my mouse? My mouse got stuck. Let me see if the cell died or what. Okay, 1 minute. I have to change the battery. Okay. His two nostrils are the generating center of our breathing and all other airs. His smelling powers generate the Ashwini Kumar demigods and all kinds of medicinal herbs. And his breathing energies produce different kinds of fragrance. So ultimately, everything comes from. We have Ashwini Kumars; they are in charge of the medicine, Ayurveda, and all that. So, but all the knowledge that the demigods get, ultimately they get from the Supreme Lord. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever the boons the demigods give you, they are coming from me. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhaya architum ichchati tasya chalam shraddham tan eva vidadhami aham sataya shraddhaya yuktas tasya aradhana mihate labhate cha tatha kaman maeva vihitani tan. So It's coming from me. So everything, the fragrance, Krishna is saying that I am the fragrance of earth in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying I am the fragrance of earth. I am the medicinal herb. So everything, the healing power in the medicinal herb is coming from Krishna. And all different kinds of fragrances come from earth, right? When we sow a seed, so seed has no fragrance, and then water has no fragrance. But when you sow a seed in the ground and then you pour water on it, then a rose flower comes out which has fragrance. How come the fragrance came? With the earth's fragrance. And earth has many different kinds of fragrances for different flowers. So whenever we smell a flower, we should remember, oh, this came from earth, and this earth, the fragrance, Krishna says, I am the fragrance of earth. So this fragrance is due to Krishna. And we offer the flower back to Krishna in the arati. We offer a flower, and then everybody goes around, like some devotee goes around and everybody smells the flower. So this fragrance, which is coming from Krishna, from the earth, that is offered back to Krishna. The fire element which comes from Krishna, Bhumi apo nalo vayu khammano buddhi devacha, that is offered back to Krishna. So Krishna consciousness also means, like we worship Ganga, we take the water of Ganga and offer it back to Ganga. So whatever Krishna has given us is all Krishna's, it all belongs to Krishna. But when we offer it back to Krishna, Krishna becomes very pleased. That's what it is. Whatever energy we have got, we ate some food and all this, and Krishna digested the food in our stomach. He's the Jatharagni. He says, I am the fire of digestion. And so we generated some energy and all this. And this body is, so everything comes from Krishna, and we are offering back to Krishna. So in that lies the perfection. So, or we use it for Krishna's service. Whatever has come from Krishna, that's the principle of Yukta Vairagya, right? Whatever has come from Krishna, it has sambandha with Krishna. Nirbandha Krishna sambandhe. Yukta Vairagya Uchyate. Everything has sambandha. Because Krishna says, I am this is my energy. Bhumi aponolo vayu khammano buddhi devacha. Ahankara ityame bhinna prakriti ashtada. This is 8, my separated energy, this material energy. And Jiva is also Krishna's energy. So the very reason we exist is to exchange in love with the Supreme. And not only with the Supreme, but all others also, all other part and parcels of Krishna. In spiritual world, it's not like the devotee only has a relationship with Krishna. He is also having relationship with other devotees also. So sometimes we think me and Krishna, that is neophyte mentality, right? Neophyte thinks that I and Krishna. He doesn't know how to respect the other devotees of the Lord. Because in the spiritual world, it's not you and Krishna alone. No, there are other devotees of the Lord also. So it's a society like of devotees. Like we have international society for Krishna consciousness, where everybody. So we recognize other devotees of the Lord also. So we all belong to Krishna, and we are meant to engage in His service. So His eyes are the generating center of all kinds of forms, and they glitter and illuminate. His eyeballs are like the sun and the heavenly planets. So the sun and moon are the eyes of the Lord. They are the witness. There are 13 witnesses, and Krishna is the super soul is the witness. The sun, which is a representative of the Supreme Lord, is also the witness. His ears hear from all sides and are receptacles for all the Vedas. And his sense of hearing is the generating center of the sky and of all kinds of sound. So it is because of Krishna we are able to hear, and like that. He has given us the ability. Shabdakhe Paurusham Nishu. The word Tirthanam is sometimes interpreted to mean the places of pilgrimage. I am the sound in ether, he says, and I am the ability in man. The word Tirthanam is sometimes interpreted to mean the places of pilgrimage. But Srila Jiva Goswami says that it means the receptacles of the transcendental Vedic knowledge. Proponents of Vedic knowledge are also known as Tirthas. Actually, devotee is considered a Tirtha because he carries Krishna in the heart. So Yeah, yesterday we were hearing how Krishna's lotus feet are in the heart of the devotee. His bodily surface is the breeding ground for the active principles of everything and for all kinds of auspicious opportunities. His skin is the generating center for the moving air and all kinds of sense of touch, and is the place for performing all kinds of sacrifice. There is the moving agent of all planets, and as such, the generating centers for promotion to the deserving planets. The sacrifices are his bodily surface and are naturally the origin of all auspicious opportunities. And the last verse, the hairs on his body are the cause of all vegetation, particularly of those trees which are required as ingredients for sacrifice. The hairs on his head and face are the reservoir for clouds, and his nails are the breeding ground of electricity and iron ores, stones and iron ores. So, the polished nails of the Lord generate electricity, and the clouds rest on the hairs of his head. One can therefore collect all sorts of necessities of life from the person of the Lord, and therefore the Vedas affirm that everything that is produced is caused by the Lord. The Lord is the supreme cause of all causes. Nitya nityanam chetnas chetanam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Katha Upanishad says that we are all individually all jivas, but there is one supreme jiva amongst us who is providing the needs of all the other jivas. That is the Supreme Lord Krishna. So everything Krishna is maintaining, even though we have rebelled against him and we wanted to be independent of him and come to the material world. Krishna is so kind that even then he is providing all the necessities. Normally we don't, those who are against us, then their facilities are curtailed, right? But Krishna is so kind that he has created such an elaborate material world and is fulfilling the needs and desires of all the jivas in the material world to be independent of him and to enjoy. He has created so many subterranean heavenly planets. He has created the Swarga Loka, so many enjoyable places. And people go like, right, they say, I'm going to Switzerland or Hawaii to see the beautiful, scenery there. And Krishna has created all these things. So he's so liberal that even those who are against him, he's allowing them to survive and sustain with the hope. And then he gives us some misery with the hope that one day this soul will turn back to me. This soul will again come back to me. In the Shvetashvatar Upanishad, it is described, right? There are two birds in a tree. One bird is eating the fruits of the tree, another bird is watching and waiting for the. So Paramatma, we say, he's ever waiting, ever working. He's trying to make some arrangement in our life, give some trouble. We may say he's giving trouble, yes, but to bring us closer to him. So he is ever working, ever willing, even though we have ignored him for so many lifetimes. Every time you call a friend and he hangs up on you, will you keep calling that friend? You call a friend and then that person doesn't respond, he just hangs up. Then you will say, I'm done, I'm not going to call him. So we have hung up on Krishna many times, but Krishna is still willing to, accept us, willing to dial. He's still trying to connect with us. He's not given up on us. This is the mercy of the Lord. Right? So he never disowns us. And at any moment, the jiva decides, yes, Krishna feels so happy. Oh, this jiva has again come back. And then Krishna says, Prabhupada said, like if somebody takes one step towards me, then I will take 10 steps towards him. Krishna is very eager, Prabhupada writes in one purport. Krishna is more eager to get us out than we are ready to go. Because he says most people don't desire to go back to Krishna. But Krishna is very eager. And if he sees a little spark of like some inclination towards him, then he he makes some arrangements to bring that devotee closer. So, so that is the mercy of the Lord. Okay, it's almost 9 o'clock. We finish at 9 o'clock. Um, so, Shravanam Saturday. So I think we have to read till 5 verses next time. Read more. So anybody has
Yes.
any thing to say?
Uh, Also, as we were discussing the different body parts, uh, like Krishna is the generating center of all these senses. Because super soul is within us, things are functioning. As you were saying, like first Krishna breathes and then we breathe. Is because super soul is within us, and when he leaves, then the body stops functioning. It's that energy. Soul and super soul, and soul is part and parcel of Krishna.
Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread, Krishna says. I am the sustaining principle of all that. I am the, what he says, I am the soul of all the souls. Yeah. Anything more?
So, Prabhu, is there any reason why these the devotees, like not devotees, those yogis meditated on the Krishna in this form? Because what would be their final destination if they meditated on this form?
Those who meditate on the universal form of the Lord.
Right, right.
Yeah, Krishna also tells us how we can see him in this nature, right? So that if that reminds you of Krishna and then you engage in devotional service to Krishna, then you'll go back to it. So, I mean, yeah, whenever you drink water, he says, of the immovable things, I am the Himalayas, of the
Hmm.
fishes, I am the shark. So, when anything wondrous you see in this material manifestation, it should remind you of Krishna, that it is coming from Krishna. So, that is how, and to see it disconnected from Krishna is illusion. So, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra. What is that verse? Yomam Pashyati
Sarvam
Sarvatra.
cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranishyami sacha me na pranishyati.
Oh,
One who sees me everywhere, and um, one who sees everything in me, and yeah, he's never lost, and I'm never lost to him.
so the energy is supposed to remind you of the energetic, basically. Whenever you see the energy, then that energetic, where is this? Prabhupada gives the example that, okay, I'm seeing the mother is seeing the socks of the child or the toys of the child. Then the child may not be there, but even immediately the mother remembers. So, and she has affection for, oh, these are my baby's socks, these are, yesterday we were hearing how all that is attached to Krishna, the paraphernalia of Krishna, is also very dear to the devotees. That's why they would not step on Krishna's footprint in Vrindavan. Because it is Krishna's footprint and it is very special. So the devotees would not step Krishna's footprint. Because we may think, oh, there are 900,000 cows. How come Krishna's? But that's how it is said. Of course, it's difficult to understand logically because when you move, you don't look always down whether there is footprint or not. But that's how it is described. So all the paraphernalia of the Lord, ultimately the whole material world is paraphernalia of the Lord to be engaged in His service. So everything is Krishna's energy. So it is meant to be used in Krishna's service. Everything. Like I'm remembering that verse. Aradhanam sarvesham Vishnur aradnam param tasmat parati tadyanam.
Tadyanam sma.
Tadyanam. Tadya means the paraphernalia. So we auction all the paraphernalia of the deity. Why? Because it is worn by Krishna. This is worn by Krishna. So it is very dear. So ultimately everything in this world is owned by Krishna. So it should remind us of Krishna. It's like that. If the yogi thinks like that, then he will become a bhakta. So Okay. So not only in the temple you see in the deity, but when you're outside also. Krishna says you see the sunshine. Prabhashmi shashi suryayo. When you drink water, rasoham apsu konteya. He says, not only in the temple when you are in front of the deity, oh, here is Krishna. No, when you are outside also, when you see, then you can say, oh, this is Krishna's energy. This is Krishna's. Prabhupada says like that. Whenever you drink water, then you should remember this taste of water is Krishna. So
यद यद विभूतिमत् तत्त्वं श्रीमदोर्जितमेव तत्तदेवावगच्छत मम तेजोंस संभवम्. All glory, any glorious thing that you see, Krishna says, but a spark of my splendor.
My splendor, yes. So any beauty you see, oh, this is Krishna's beauty reflecting some part. If the part is so beautiful, how much Krishna will be beautiful, right? That Prabhupada said. The source of all beauty, how much he must be beautiful. If a little fragment of his beauty is so beautiful, how much would be the source of all beauty? So like that we can think. Somehow or other, yena kena prakarena mana Krishna
Manah Krishna niveshyat.
somehow or other you remember Krishna. I think this is in Nectar of Devotion. I think Bhakti Rasamrita says. By hook or crook, somehow or other, just remember Krishna. Put Krishna in your mind. And of course, the devotee like to remember the two-handed Shyam Sundar form of the Lord and his activities and his pastimes. But anyhow, you remember Krishna. This is Krishna in his opulence, this material world.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also seeing Krishna everywhere. When he saw the blue cloud, he remembered the blue complexion of Krishna. When he saw a mountain, he would remember Govardhan. When you see a garden, he remembered Vrindavan. And like all, everywhere he was connecting to Krishna and Vrindavan.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Shantipur and he thought came to Yamuna. Of course, Nityananda Prabhu tricked him, but yeah. See. So like that. Yeah, we have to see Krishna. Even in the different events that happen in one's life, devotee sees Krishna's hand. That, oh, Krishna is making me go through this so that I can become detached and I can come closer to him. So I am attached to so many things in this material world. Krishna is arranged this situation so that I can come closer to him. So that way also he remains grateful. Tatenu kampam susamikshmanu bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam vidvag vapurbir vidadan namaste jiveto yumukti pade sadaya bhak. So that also he feels like that, yeah. And if I'm in nice situation, Krishna has put me in nice situation. So kind Krishna is. So bad or good situation, he sees, yeah, this is Krishna's mercy on me. Prabhupada says like that, right? The psychology of a devotee is that if something good happens, he says, I'm not deserving such thing, but Krishna is so kind that he has put me in this. Something bad happens, oh, I was going to deserve much worse, but Krishna has minimized my suffering. And I'm going to, so kind. And he's making me learn. It is said, to remove the last, what? To remove the last...
Vestiges of the enjoying spirit.
Vestiges of attachment. Krishna, yeah, so that we should come to take his shelter. Yasyaham anugrinami harishya tad dhanam shanay. Tato adhanam tyajantyasya swajana dukkha dukkhitam. Krishna says, if I show special mercy, then I take away. Okay, so Krishna is maintaining us. Yeah. That is also the mood of surrender, right? Gopatritve, Krishna will maintain me, Krishna will protect me. We should not have unrealistic expectations. We should be surrendered also. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. Rakshashititi vishwasho gopatritve varanam. Atma nikshepa.
Nikshepa karmani.
Shadvidha sharnagati.
Also, the उत्तम अधिकारी स्थावर देखे जंगम देखे ना देखे तारा मोती सर्वत्र होए निज इष्ट देव स्मृति. Everywhere he sees. He doesn't see animate or inanimate things. He sees his Ishtadev, Supreme Lord, everywhere.
Okay. So it is we have to practice. The devotees, when they're in love, they see very spontaneously, they remind of Krishna. But we have to practice. So then by practicing, we will come to the spontaneous platform. Because Krishna love is there in our heart. It is not an artificial thing. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Pagunoi Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karayodai. Okay, Sukhdevan Prabhu wanted to say something. Looks like that.
Yes, Prabhu. On that question that Manish Prabhu asked, right? So I was thinking, if you look at all the descriptions, how the acharyas are remembering Krishna, uh, they always gravitate towards the two-handed form, like you were saying, the bluish black Krishna, right? So with the two-handed form. At the same time, Hanumanji was thinking of him as Lord Ram, like that. And what you said earlier, whatever form we are attached to, it's better to remember him in that form, and eventually the same result everyone gets, like they get liberated or they get promoted to his spiritual planet, whatever may be the case. But at the same time, based on our sampradaya and based on what our acharyas have taught us, this is more of a question. I'm not asking, like, I'm not making a comment or anything, but the question is, should we strive to remember Krishna in a two-handed form eventually? Because that's what our movement is all about, right?
Yeah, in one purport, Prabhupada writes in 1865. Let me pull up that purport. He says, one should fix his mind on the original form of Godhead, Krishna. One should not even divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. The Lord has multi-forms as Vishnu, Narayan, Ram, Varaha, etc. But a devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. That's the Krishna. The concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge. And this is disclosed. Now, having said that, other places Prabhupada might have said that we have in Chaitanya Leela, we have Murari Gupta, who was Hanumanji, and he could not get his mind off Lord Ramchandra's. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu initially tried to dissuade him, to test him, and then he was not able to. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciated him, right? That you are the. So ultimately, they are all the same Supreme Personality, but depending on your particular, inclination, one can. But if you don't have any particular inclination to any, then focus on Krishna. And we are chanting Hare Krishna. This is a Yugal mantra, Radha Krishna. So maybe we will go back to Golok Vrindavan to be with Radha Krishna. Somehow Dravida Prabhu was saying one time that we got somehow connected with this parampara, which is the Radha Krishna. So maybe our destination is Golok Vrindavan. But we cannot say for certain because somebody may be a devotee of Narsingadev, more attached to Narsingadev or Lord Ramchandra or others. But we have our original Swarup that they say. But if you are not, then we can remember Krishna. If you have particular attraction for some Vishnu form, then you can remember that. Many devotees have that, right? Like Sridhar Swami, Prabhupada disciple who passed away, he was Narsingadev. He was very attached to Lord Narsingadev. So that's perfect also. Everything is perfect. Whether you worship Krishna or you worship anybody else, it's all perfect. But then we say, it's like Hanumanji is also perfect. So, but depending on your thing. But it has to be Vishnu Tattva, that's all. Not demigods. Okay, so.
Okay, bro. That
Anything else anyone would like to say?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have a question. You just said that the Hanumanji is like okay to, it's a Vishnu Tattva, not
No, Ram,
demigod?
Ram. He's attached to Lord,
Right.
the Supreme Lord
Right.
is in the
Okay.
form of Lord Ram. So,
Okay.
yeah. So many devotees are
So,
there.
so what is the Hanumanji then?
What Hanuman is a Jiva Tattva, right? Or we say he's a transformation of what? Lord Shiva, something like that. It's said.
Rudra. Yeah, from his.
Vayu
By
and Shiva.
yeah.
Ayush.
But there is also
Hanumanji, I thought he is a perfect example of a bhakta or a devotee.
Dasya.
Although he is empowered with so much power, mystical powers, he is capable of doing a lot more than what an ordinary jiva can do. But he's ideally, we have to remember him as a bhakta. So how loyal and chaste he is towards Lord Ram. Is that the way to look at it, or?
yeah. So we cite his thing as example of Dasyavas. So one should be as faithful as Hanuman, right? So Murari Gupta in that also Mahaprakash Leela, when Lord Chaitanya showed the form, then he showed him as the form as Lord Ramchandra, and then Hanumanji, Murari Gupta turned into like having a tail and a monkey form, right? Something as Hanuman. So all the different Krishna includes everybody, right? Krishna is the source of all. And then in worshipping Krishna also you may have a particular attachment to a particular rasa. In Sakhya ras or Vatsalya ras or Madhurya ras, something like that. So that is also there, even because it's full of variety, as Prabhupada was saying. There are Krishna wants to experience all different kinds of rasa. So he has different. When Yashoda chastises him, he feels a certain way, and when Radharani chastises him, he feels a certain way. With every friend, Krishna has a particular rasa. So all variety he wants to experience, and sometimes one personality can have multiple roles in the spiritual world. They can be in Chaitanya Leela because that is also there. Navadvip is also there, in the spiritual sky, and they can be in Raj Leela and in Chaitanya Leela simultaneously. That is, we cannot understand like that, but it is described. Jiva can be in multiple.
Prabhu was saying 7 forms we can take.
Yeah.
And we can be in multiple rasas also.
Yeah, so there can be, and you can change. And one conversation Prabhupada says, yeah, you can change also your rasa if you want, because you want to enjoy different ways of relating with Krishna, so you can change also. Although generally we say Swarup Siddhi means a particular rasa in which we serve the Lord, but another time he said, yeah, you can. Anyway, all these are not fathomable at our level, but we have to just chant Hare Krishna and then we will know who we are in the spiritual world. Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll stop here. Anything else to want to say? Like to share? Okay, so we'll stop. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.